This NFL Week 3 Picks edition of Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Colorado, Indiana, Michigan, New Jersey, Tennessee, Virginia, and Arizona. From boosted parlays to in-game odds on every major sport, WynnBET has what you need to win. Sign up today to receive a $1,000 risk-free sports bet. Download the WynnBET app now or visit wynnbet.com and start winning today. We're also brought to you by PropSwap, America's #1 app to buy and sell sports bets. Use promo code SGP on your first deposit and receive up to $500 in bonus cash. That's PropSwap.com, promo code SGP. We're also brought to you by PicksWise. PicksWise is the #1 app for free sports betting picks, props, and parlays. Download the free PicksWise app now to make your next bet better. We're also brought to you by OddsCrowd. Are you the best football bettor in the United States? OddsCrowd challenges you to prove it with their free-to-play fantasy betting contests. OddsCrowd gives away hundreds of dollars in weekly contests, including the $100 SGPN exclusive free roll contest. And of course, don't forget to download the SGPN app, your home for all of our free picks and podcasts. Ooh, welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Oh, well, you know, Sean, it's already week 3. We got 2 weeks behind us. A lot of talk about teams that are 0-2 against the spread. And what that means, teams that are 0-2 in real life and what that means. Plus the return of the Danny Dimes turnover totem. I saw a t-shirt, Sean, and I wanted to start with this. Okay. I didn't want to start with me touting a 35-1 a prop, but I wanted to start with this. I saw a t-shirt. It said, "Let Danny Dime." Love it. Love it. Let Danny Dime.
Now, who created that? Is dad, mom?
It's a pro Giants podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Pro Giants. Yeah. Okay. Cause I thought
they're anti Jason Garrett. If you're not, you're obviously not getting the memos. It's all about Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett is clearly the whipping boy to the point of, and I've never seen this, Kenny Galladay, and I had it in my Giants notes, but let's get to it now.
Oh, okay.
Kenny Galladay clarified that in fact, no, he was not yelling at Daniel Jones. He was in fact yelling at Jason Garrett. That's how he knows the city and the pulse. He has a finger on the pulse to the point where he knows, oh, just shit on Jason Garrett. Everyone is going to, it's okay. If you're yelling at Jason Garrett, the fans have your back.
It's kind of true. I think, like I've been telling you, as power shifts into Joe Judge's hands, the ownership is starting to see, wow, maybe what he's saying is right. The two ownership marks, David Gettleman, coach Jason Garrett. And like you said, read between the lines. When you got a stud wide receiver clarifying that he was coming at the OC, not the quarterback.
No, we're talking about Kenny Galladay. Who's the stud receiver?
Stop it. I can't wait. I mean, he's going to have a game this week, Sean. So that's fine. You can stand on your hate parade. All right?
You said stud receiver. I thought we were changing the conversation.
Stud. You see that Instagram picture? Fucking stud, Sean. All right.
He is a stud.
Your lane.
He is a stud off the field. I will give him that. Okay, Kramer, you got the totem. I think that will help with the mojo. You hit on Aaron Jones, 35-1, 35-1 on the Monday night props recap episode. So hopefully you guys got down on that. I went 3-0 with my Monday night props, but still we need to do something to address the mojo. And shout out to the listener. I didn't see if it was on Slack or Twitter. I missed his name, but he said, did I miss the football song? And every NFL week 1, I do the football song to get people ready for football. However, we were in the Win betting studio, did not have access to my soundboard, Ryan. And the studio was amazing, but I honestly, it's nice to have the soundboard. I'm told we will have access to the soundboard next time. Doesn't matter. What does matter is here to cleanse the mojo, to get everything back on track. Football. Let's go football. Football, 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 football. Football. Ryan's riding the levels because he knows I'm peaking because we got chips, we got dips, we got bets, we got sweating out action, we got late game chases, we got bailing yourself out with a sweet 35-1 on a Monday night. We're going to win it all back and then some, because we got parlays, we got dogs, we got teasers. Oh my God, Kramer, I'm testing the system. I'm giving my all because it's goddamn football. Week 3, just as good as week 2, even better than week 1. We're building something here. LFG. Let's go. Football, football, football. And of course, the football song and the football podcast, all brought to you by Win Bets. Woo. A little tired, Ryan. I peaked early. Great first quarter, but it's a 4-quarter game. WinBet, obviously presenting sponsor of the Sports Gambling Podcast and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Make sure you head to winbet.com, WINNBET.com. And Andrew Robb pointing out in the chat, congrats on episode. What is that? 1100.
A lot of new shows on the block.
We must be some just sideline reporter who just started this last weekend.
Wow. Sports gambling.
There's a lot of opportunities in the sports gambling market, so I decided to hop in.
I'd like to announce I'm doing it. I'm getting into sports gambling.
Oh man, that tweet was hilarious. All right, WinBet, obviously presenting sponsor. Make sure you get over to WinBet. Great guys. We had one of their traders on episode 1. Great people to work with, and they got a bunch of fun promos, including this week's triple the spread.
Oh no,
that's right. The Packers, instead of +3.5 over on WinBet, exclusively on WinBet, you can get +10.5.
Yikes.
So make sure you head over and get down on that as well. What else do we got? A couple notes to get into before we start giving out the picks, Ryan. We gave the officials a lot of shit, and I think rightly so. One thing I liked last year, not that the Eagles were 4-11-1, but I enjoyed. It felt like they went out of their way not to call penalties, and this year it's been the exact opposite.
This taunting shit kills me.
Well, yeah, the taunting shit, but it seems like it's everything. In 2020, there were 17 weeks. There was never a weekend when 200 penalties were assessed. The highest was week 2 of last year at 198. This season so far, officials assessed 214 penalties in week 1, 221 in week 2. What the fuck is going on? This is really getting insane.
Well, I think much like, the data that we look at, much like the ATS records, all that good stuff. I think once you have a couple weeks, you can go from saying 1 data point to 2 to now the league can say, hey guys, let's tone this shit down a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's relax. We see if the NFL does one thing well is correct quickly when they've made a mistake. They don't say they made a mistake,
no,
but the mistake just disappears, like Jason Garrett falling off a boat in the middle of the Atlantic. I think what we're gonna see, and we might see the overcorrection, and I don't know if it's this week or next, but we're gonna see one of those weeks where they there's gonna be complaints about things not being called.
Yeah,
which is better.
I
in my
hope
opinion.
so. At the end of the day, no one likes to see these penalties and interesting angles. I'll be hitting on some of these. Our boy Munaf Manji is hanging out in the chat, of course. Host of the Propcast, MLB cast. Again, the Mike Trout of degeneracy here.
5-tool player. I like
yes, exactly. He fired back up his ref report, which is really fun.
Yes, please.
If you're a true
#Legends only.
And he's been getting a lot of great feedback. I know the him and Dan have been doing really well with their props over on the Propcast. New feed launching for that, so make sure you check that out. But yes, over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, we have some the ref report is back, which I always like taking a look at, especially if you're a totals better. I feel like really makes a difference. Some of these guys who just call a ton, some guys who put away the whistle, definitely worth taking a look at. So make sure you head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com, get in over there, and yes, ref report. It's a lot of fun. All right, Kramer. PropSwap.com, get that sweet bonus cash. Go to PropSwap.com, promo code SGP. We're considering whether or not to list the Matt Corral Heisman Trophy bet that we gave as a ticket to Colby. Colby's getting married soon. I feel like you should probably sell it. Get that guaranteed cash.
Colby's getting the call from the banker. Is he going to take the deal?
Deal. He's just there waving it off.
No deal.
PropSwap does have that vibe of deal or no deal. Again, head over to PropSwap.com where you can buy and sell real betting tickets. Again, if sports betting is not legal in your state yet, good opportunity there to get involved in the marketplace. And if it is legal, awesome opportunity as well, because you can list your tickets. Again, they don't have to cash; they just have to go up in value for you to make money. All right, Kramer, let's do it. Let's start talking Week 1 NFL picks.
Before we get to it, I was a little surprised that you didn't update the football song to include a God's eye mention.
Oh,
perhaps
sorry.
Too fresh in your brain. You're not ready for it. That's fine, because we will have to make another decision with God's eye. Do we roll out the teardrop for the 9th game? I think we do.
Well, and Steve over in the Golf Gambling Podcast is asking us where the Ryder Cup action will be.
That's right.
I think that'll just have to be on the laptop.
A second teardrop?
No,
Can we find another TV?
I think we just put a laptop over in the bar. Again, I'll give it a little run, but I'm not gonna, I'm rooting for the U.S. I probably won't bet on it, so it'll limit my interest. But I will be checking it out.
All right, before we get started, quick nuggets, Sean. Just throwing this out there, something to think about. Houston, Carolina, Vegas, Denver, Dallas, all 2-0 against the spread. Jacksonville, Kansas City, Atlanta, Jets, and Redskins 0-2 against the spread. And primetime games 6-0 to the over. That's always fun, Sean. The public is making money right now, you would think, on those overs. So let's head to the next primetime game, Thursday Night Football. And this game wasn't exactly exciting before the season. I think maybe it somehow got less exciting. Carolina heads to Houston, where the Texans are a 8-point home dog, plus 320 on the money line, minus 420 for the Panthers. 43 is the total. You got to be high if you want to lay 8 points with Sam Darnold
on the road. This
is a battle between two teams that have made bettors money. Like I said, 2-0 against the spread.
Something must give.
Something's got to give. Davis Mills, the backup. Apparently Watson will not even be a backup for this game. Still dealing with some. Look, how do you handicap this one other than who's running to the window to lay the points with Sam Darnold?
Yeah, I mean, I guess people are just saying, "Hey, let's keep fading the Texans." They lost Tyrod, which was a big part of the handicap about why I thought they'd be decent, why you thought they would be, well, even better than decent. But and a big reason why we've backed them as big dogs in both Week 1 and Week 2.
Yeah,
it's tough because it does seem like the public's going to be all over Carolina. I do like taking a home dog on Thursday night. I don't know what the splits are off the top of my head. What I'm worried about is the Texans' ability to move the ball. Will they be able to move the ball at all? I know on our DFS picks podcast, we gave out some Thursday night prop bets. We were both on Brandon Cooks over, and Nico. We didn't talk about Nico Collins. He's on the IR. I just think it's going to be a tough spot for these Texans, and the Panthers could be a team. As much as I was high on them coming in, I like Matt Rule. I like the situation. I think the offense was going to be solid. I thought the defense would be better. The defenses look pretty solid. They've been able to get a pass rush. I do worry about Davis Mills, not a very mobile quarterback back there. And no Nico Collins. They didn't have a ton of weapons to begin with. It just feels like it's going to be an ugly game. Ingram getting the ball a lot of check down, dump off to Christian McCaffrey. But the Panthers are probably a team that's slightly overrated just because of their schedule. They had 2 games at home. They barely beat that Jets team 19-14. And then they beat a Saints team, which was like a clear letdown spot. And we were all over. So I mean, I think this is a good time to be fading the Panthers.
Well, and I think in general, the while Houston is 2-0 against the spread, Carolina is 2-0 in real life. And they're getting the hype. People are talking about them, and that's this is the time of year where we fire up our betting screen and we say, well, which one of these teams is going to be a massive public side? And it's Carolina. I don't think as many people are betting on Houston, even though they've won us money both weeks. I don't think they're getting the money. I'm seeing more than 80% on the Panthers right now. This whole card this week, I know you make fun of me every time I say it's a weird week, but this card is the kind of card where I think people just getting into sports gambling, they might struggle a little bit, because to me, this is an experience week. And what experience tells me,
crafty veterans like ourselves,
is you circle back to the first thing I said. You must be high, laying minus 420, taking Sam Darnold road chalk this. You just don't do it. You just don't do it. Road teams 9-13 against the spread on the season too. So
yeah, not a great start for the road teams, and a home dog. Do you have what the home dogs are?
I don't have that. I do have dogs in general, 21-11 against the spread. So only 14 and 18 straight up. But I still
feel like we got one more good week of dogs, and then maybe things start adjusting.
The other note I have is the Panthers do have the Cowboys on deck. Matt Rule, a Texas guy.
Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch.
There's too much of a stretch. All right, let's move to Sunday. Arizona takes the this Jacksonville team takes the Jacksonville, where Urban Meyer and the Jags are catching 7.5 points at home, plus 275 on the money line, minus 360 for the Cardinals. 52 is the total. I don't think the handicap is all that different here. I really enjoyed reading about how Urban Meyer said to someone that the NFL is like playing Alabama every week.
Yeah, when I read that,
what did you expect, you dummy?
Yeah, that's because all the players from Alabama go on to play in the NFL.
Well, that being said, Sean, in this spot, I think you can kind of say the same thing. Can you lay more than a touchdown with Cliff Kingsbury? I mean, last week, great example. This team is going to be up. They're going to be down. They can come back from 2 scores. They can give up a 2-score lead. I just think basic betting principles and experience says, well, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be jumping in to tease this Arizona team down. They're going to be teasing Carolina down. I just caution you. These 0-2 teams.
Lawrence does lead the league. Trevor Lawrence in uncatchable passes. Arizona D-line should be able to get pass rush against the Jags. I mean, Jags for me are stuck in auto fade. Do I take them out for this situational spot? Because the Cardinals, they have the Rams in Los Angeles next week. And this is a really easy spot for them to look past the Jags. Ah, man. And where are you at with Arizona's defense? Because we thought Arizona's defense was going to suck. They looked really good week 1 against the Titans, and then kind of fell back to earth at home. And we saw Kyler Murray turn it over a couple times.
My prediction in this game is that Urban Meyer gets back to where it's not going well. It's not going well because the quarterback is not doing good things with the ball. I think Urban Meyer gets back to his roots. They run the ball like Minnesota showed them you can do against this defensive front. And I think this is a gross game where Jacksonville has some success running the ball. Urban Meyer, absolutely. He might think everyone's Alabama, but he knows he can take down Cliff Kingsbury, someone who did not excel at the college level. I'm sure this is an alpha dog move.
He does have probably some experience, more than most NFL coaches, preparing to face an air raid.
And over the past decade, 0-2 teams are 43, 26-1 against the spread in week 3 when facing a team that's not 0-2 themselves. So everything makes sense here, right? Arizona's overvalued. Jacksonville's undervalued. We understand the God hates Jags auto fade situation, but I think at home against an Arizona team that doesn't know how to win games still. Sean, the game last week was no different than that Buffalo Hail Mary game of the year before. This team has not improved. We're just getting tricked because of that first week. And who knows what happened with Tennessee? So
yeah, I'll take the Jags plus 7.5. Doesn't feel great to be on this shitty Jags team.
Experience here. This is a card where we're gonna experienced vets 1,100 episodes deep are gonna help you navigate this very, very tricky field where the new kids on the block they might give you some bad advice. Sean, Indy heads to Tennessee where the Titans were 3 on the look ahead, now up to 5, minus 255 on the money line. Colts plus 200, 48 is the total. Jesus, I mean,
Carson Wentz unlikely to play, dealing with that double sprained ankle, which is just, again, I've never heard of that in my entire life. It's impressive that Carson Wentz is inventing new ways to get injured. This is an interesting Colts team because you could make a case. I mean, they were moving the ball up and down the field against this Rams team and did like an okay job minus Cooper Kupp, who no one has had luck shutting down. And then they had a 4th and 1 where where Wentz got sacked, held onto the ball too long. They had a one of those shovel pass interceptions within the 5. So you could make a case that the Colts, they covered, but they had a really good shot to win that game. Now Jacob Eason comes in. I think it maybe this is a decent matchup for them, and I think taking this is tough because I'm wondering, do you think the public is going to be on this Colts team?
No.
All right. Well, if the public's not on the Colts and
the public
Carson Wentz isn't starting, I think there is real reasons why you should take the Colts catching 5 points. The Titans are really bad. What are they, third to last in DVOA? I think the Colts are going to be able to run the ball on the Titans. And I think not having Carson Wentz in the lineup, we've seen it a bunch with the Eagles, right? Nick Foles came in, Jalen Hurts came in, especially that first week after getting rid of Carson Wentz. There's a nice little bump up, and I'll take Frank Reich figuring out how to keep this a game against this Titans team.
So couple things to note, because I think the experience points to taking the inflated number. It's a divisional game. Back to 0-2 teams, Sean. 0-2 teams heading into a division game in week 3. 14-5-1 over the past decade. So even stronger. I think we like everything about the Indy organization outside of Carson Wentz more than we like Tennessee, especially Tennessee coming off a heavily overvalued win.
Yeah.
Where
and again, they almost played 5 quarters on the West Coast.
Here's what I'm concerned about. Indy has not. They haven't shown. They have the worst adjusted line yards, defensive line, and that's the one area that concerns me. Now, on the flip side, I think Indy can come out here, throw the ball to the tight ends, run the ball, and play defense. And this is a 3-point game. It's a divisional game, and boy, as soon as Tennessee won that game last week, you just want to fade them this week.
Yeah.
And so the fact that this is a divisional game. Is Wentz 2 points better than the backup? Will the team play harder without Wentz out there?
Yeah, and Eason, who by all accounts came in, didn't look amazing or even good, and kind of he's not very dynamic in the pocket there. But
could be a problem.
I would say this: Tennessee's defensive line, they're not like someone getting a ton of pressure. I mean, you saw Russell Wilson; he sat back, he had all day back there, and I think you give that kind of. I don't know. I know everyone in Indy is blaming their offensive line, but I'm telling you, as someone who lived with it, I'm pretty sure it was Carson Wentz and not the offensive line. So I'm taking Colts +5 here.
I saw someone tweet out like a pressure graphic of Carson Wentz, pointing out that it's the offensive line that's causing the problems, and then someone took that same image and overlaid what he looked like on the Eagles.
Yes,
same thing. Pointing out quarterbacks sometimes create their own pressure, and in this case, I think we both believe that. So yeah, I think you got to take the points again.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of simple play action, and I think Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines, I think, have big games, and I'm kicking myself because I do think I should have some more Naheem Hines shares in these when I build some lineups later on the week for DFS. I think Naheem Hines is going to be in there.
Fits nicely. And just real quick, because it's worth mentioning, because there's a lot of this week. Previous game, Cardinals getting 90% of the action, and in this game, Titans seeing over 80% of the tickets, but only half the money. Tells you there's some bigger bets coming in on the Colts. +5 though, just too many points for a divisional matchup. Next up, Sunday, 10 a.m. early kick. Baltimore heads to Detroit, where the Lions are +8 at home, +310 on the money line, -410 for the Ravens. 50 is the total. Another one. Is this not just the auto play on the Lions? Baltimore. I mean, could you have scripted out?
They were close to dumping the Gatorade on Harbaugh after that win. It was the emotional win of, oh, finally Lamar got one over Kansas City, and Lamar was lucky. I mean, he stared down the defender, threw it right to him for a pick six. What I'm worried about, and honestly, probably the play is Detroit first half, because we keep seeing this out of Detroit where they look frisky in the first half, and then they just completely fall apart in the second half.
Well, they cover. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess the San Francisco one, they kept fighting back, so there is that. And don't look now, but Baltimore's secondary or pass defense 22nd in DVOA. I know it's early, but for a team that has excelled in garbage time, it's something to look at. And then the last thing I'll say is that Detroit's actually been one of the more efficient teams running the ball, according to DVOA number 4. So could they hang around in this game? Could they have enough success on offense to kind of keep this close later?
Well, and we mentioned in the DFS show, but worth repeating while we actually talk about the game. But Hawkinson, who is Goff's number 1 target, should have a great matchup. I mean, you saw what Kelsey did against them. You saw what Waller did against the Ravens, and I think they're going to have trouble with, Hawkinson as well. And again, this is a non-conference road game for the Ravens, huge road favorites. I think both teams are going to be running the ball a ton, and that's going to bleed the clock and help keep it a closer game. So I'm going Lions +8.
Are we worried that we're taking so many dogs and dogs have been doing well, and the pendulum's just going to fire back the other way? No, because once again, Baltimore, 70% of the action.
Yeah.
So, boy, these people are savages. That's crazy. Washington heads to Buffalo. Washington coming off Thursday Night Football, big win. Taylor Heineke, they're now catching 8.5 in Buffalo. Buffalo -380, Skins +290. 45 is the total. This one had me a bit puzzled. And again, classic scenario. Buffalo won 35-0. Period.
Yeah, but if you watch that game, they didn't look like a team that was winning 35-0. And you keep mentioning that Josh Allen had that look in his eye, that look where he wants to do, he wants to.
He's feeling dangerous.
Yeah, feeling dangerous. Wanting to light the world on fire with the turnover. And I think the Redskins, while their defense hasn't looked great, I think they may be able to capitalize. I do think Chase Young gets home with the strip sack against the Buffalo offensive line. And this Washington team, I think they were overrated coming into the year. I think their defense isn't as good as we thought. All that being said, I don't think they're a team that's really going to get their ass kicked. And if you're giving Ron Rivera a touchdown plus, I think that's a good spot for Washington in the Ron Rivera era. They're 9-4 against the spread as dogs. Now you give the Redskins offensive line, they're pretty solid. I think they're going to be able to give Heineke time, and you give Heineke extra time to prepare. Clearly in that Thursday night game, there were moments where things were out of sorts, but I think with the extra time and I think their ability to create some, give him some space. And I think the Bills defense, it's tough because they just got a shutout on the road. But again, watching that, it was a lot of Miami shooting themselves in the foot. If Heineke can play a clean game, which I think he can, for the most part, I think they're going to be in this game, and 7.5 feels a bit high.
Yeah, I guess this one feels like maybe the one where I'm most worried about taking the dog because it is Taylor Heineke. Although I do think he might be as good as Fitzmagic. This is a Bills team who appears to have an improved defense, and maybe that's the matchup I'm more concerned about. And we haven't really seen it from the Washington defense, so I just don't. So I'm tempted to take the Bills out of principle. That the money's pretty evenly split here. We totally could see another blowout, but like you said, to me, this is bad. We kind of have to rewind to pre-2020 Josh Allen and say, are we really going to lay 7.5 points with Josh Allen with the way he handles the ball? Absolutely not. Again, this is an experience journey. Week 3. Okay. This is not like
come along for the journey.
The new kids on the block are going to be telling you to tease all these fucking games. And you know what I'll tell you? Be fucking careful.
Careful out there. Week 3.
We just went through 4 games that operate in the Wong zone.
Mm-hmm.
They're not all coming home on the teaser card.
Cox
on the favorite side, at least. We picked the dog side of all of them, so our teasers might be tricky this week, Sean. But
going dog heavy. Love me a good dog in the NFL. Ryan, we're trying to give you free cash, and we're also trying to change your life by holding on to your hair. Josh Allen, he's got to hold on to the ball if he has a chance to beat the Washington football team by more than 7.5. But you got to worry about holding on to that hair, and Keeps makes that easy. Don't fumble away the follicles. I actually came up with that line on my own. You're welcome, Keeps. Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors. They offer generic versions, treatments just as low as $10 per month. And again, prevention is key. So get to the hair loss before it gets to you. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/SGP. That's KEEPS.com/SGP. keeps.com/SGP, keeps.com/SGP, and you get your first month free. So make sure they know we sent you. And of course, looking to save money. Maybe you got your ass kicked in week 2 and you need to save a couple extra bucks, pay your bookie, or you just want, maybe you're on a hot streak and you want some more money for gambling. All you got to do is head over to Mint Mobile. That's right. Mint Mobile premium wireless service for only $15 a month. Are you kidding me? Again, a lot of people think it's too good to be true. It's not, even if you don't believe me. And I'm a straight shooter. Mint Mobile offers a free 7-day money back guaranteed. So if you're not 100% satisfied, get your money back with Mint Mobile. Switching is easy. You can keep your phone. You can keep your, same contacts, same number. Very painless. All you got to do is go to mintmobile.com/sportssgp. mintmobile.com/sportssgp. Cut your wireless bill to just $15 a month over at mintmobile.com/sportssgp.
Sean, next up, New Orleans. What do you call it when you do three things in a row? A turkey
trifecta,
back to back to back road games. Are you kidding me? Here's what I'll say. New Orleans, they head to the road as a close your eyes special to New England. New England was -1 on the look ahead, Sean. Now it's -3, -150 on the money line. New Orleans +130. 42 is the total. And the biggest note I have written down right here is Bill Belichick and this Patriots team have a look ahead to Tom Brady.
It's a baby fucking wheel, man.
Belichick was also complimenting Jameis in the press conference.
Yeah, he knows how to get ahead of things here. This game is tough, and I saw, I think, Terrell in the chat, Terrell Furman. He had New England -3, and then I think Cody Z was on Saints +3. Normally our guys are aligned on something like this. I had trouble with it myself. I kind of like New England -3, but then it's like, that's some late movement. I mean, you can make a good case for both sides of the team. I mean, the unprecedented third road game for the Saints,
it's tough.
That's brutal. You have Belichick versus Jameis. I like Belichick in that matchup, but then you have Sean Payton coming off a loss, 9-4 against the spread as an underdog after losing as a favorite, 18-9 against the spread in back-to-back road games, but that's not back-to-back road games. Cody pointing out, that Bill doesn't look ahead.
It's true.
Oh, and I confused it. Terrell is on the Saints and Cody is on New England. Pat's offensive line, they do a really good job and they move people around. And actually my boy Mac Jones didn't look amazing in that Jets game. It kind of got swept under the rug because of how bad Zach Wilson looked. But Saints, they still have some coaching issues with COVID. It sounds like they're getting some of their coaches back, but not all are still back in the facility. So that's gotta hurt their prep work. Now it's a non-conference road game going up to New England, dome team outdoors. Granted, it's early.
To me, there's the other element here, which is I think the Saints will almost undoubtedly be healthier, both with coaches and players. They were also pretty banged up last week. Like, forget the coach part that kind of overshadowed. We were already saying, look how long this injury report is. So you already touched on it, but Sean Payton just really good coming off a loss, both against the spread and straight up. And I think this is a get up spot for any team, and especially a guy like Sean Payton, right? Bill Belichick is the man. And so I think everyone wants to bring their A game. And last thing I'll say, we've seen the Saints control the line of scrimmages before and control games. And what I'm interested in here, if they can control the line on the defensive side and put some pressure on Mac Jones.
But that's where, and you bring me to the point of what swung it for me to New England was New England's offensive line. I think of all the units,
that's the strength
is the strength in this game. I think the New England offensive line is the best unit between the quarterbacks, the DBs, everything all factored together. I think New England's offensive line is the best thing they have going here. And I think if you're the Saints, you're the defensive line, they're getting pushed around. And I think you just got to start thinking about like, man, I just can't wait to get back home. We got a nice, easy game against the Giants to open the Superdome back. I think that's going to weigh on them.
Is it going to open after that fire?
Yeah,
okay.
That's not a big deal.
Okay. The roof being on fire, not a big deal.
Not an issue.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take. I mean, I shamefully didn't blindly take the goddamn close your eyes special last week, and it went 1-1. I
think it went 1-2, right?
I went back and looked. There was only 2.
Okay,
one of them must have been a favorite. I don't love this only being 3 points, but the Saints have been a sneaky road team. I just think this is a great bounce back spot for them. To me,
it is. I mean, they are good against the spread off a loss. I'm just gonna say Belichick at home against a non-conference opponent. That's my angle. And really, New England's offensive line. And I think I think the Jameis we saw in game 2 is closer to the Jameis we'll see. Now you get Jameis back home in the dome. I think he rights the ship.
All right, let's do it. Next up, the Chargers head to Kansas City.
I love
San Diego.
Hit the wrong
Superchargers. Charge.
And the Chiefs, they're laying 6.5 minus 300 on the money line. Chargers plus 250. 55 is the total. I mean, this is the classic. Like on one hand, it's only 6.5, and it is the Chiefs coming off a loss. But the Chiefs have been just horrible against the spread of late. They've been horrible against the spread in the division. 1-5-1 against the spread. 2-10 against the spread in their last 12 as a favorite. I just, at some point, don't we have to worry? Like this team isn't covering spreads anymore. They're not covering spreads.
Patrick Mahomes 4-0 against the spread in the initial division matchup last year, as long as he's not favored by 7 or more. And Patrick Mahomes 5-3 against the spread after a loss. And this Chargers team, as high as we're on them, and as much as we like Justin Herbert, I mean, they have some tendencies to turn the ball over in inopportune times. They were kind of fortunate. Antonio Gibson bailed them out week 1 against Washington, but man, whether it's the penalties or throwing interceptions in the end zone, this Chargers team really, really figures out a way to shoot themselves in the foot. And Andy Reid,
still there, huh?
What do you mean?
Just Chargers still being a fucking
nothing changes.
Mush.
Nothing changes with the Chargers, and it's Kansas City at home after, I think that was a tough loss for them. So this is a get up spot for Kansas City. Give me Kansas City laying 6.5.
Are we worried at all that the Chargers are 4-1-1 in their last 6 in Arrowhead? No.
Straight up
against the spread.
No.
Are we worried that the road team is 12-3-1 against the spread in the past 16 in this matchup?
No, because I think most of those numbers were probably factoring in Kansas City being a bigger favorite than 6.5.
Are we worried that the Chargers are 7-3-1 against the spread in their past 11 road games?
No, I'm not worried about it.
Okay. I mean, I think we just like this team on the road better at home because they don't have a home field advantage. So they kind of get a road bump. And the last thing I'll say, Mahomes in his career against the Chargers is 4-2 straight up. And the point differential in those 6 games is plus 12. They play close games. I'm taking the points. I think the 6.5 is telling you what the bookies already know, which is they're going to need people to bet Kansas City. So they're dangling that candy out there. They're saying, please come take this 6.5. Please, please, please give me the Chargers plus the points.
Yeah. I think normally I'd be with you, but I think the situation of them coming off that loss is what switches it for me. You want to take elite quarterbacks coming off a loss when you're gambling. That, I mean, you want to talk about veteran handicapping, Ryan, taking elite quarterbacks after they lose a game is, much like, Aaron Rodgers or whatever it is.
Chiefs win by 4. Giants coming off Thursday Night Football. They host the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons are catching 3 plus 130 on the money line, minus 150 for the Giants. 47.5 is the total. This is a road back-to-back for the Falcons. Both teams are 0-2. Something's got to give. That loser goes home.
Falcons are 0-2 against the spread as well. Giants are 1-1 against the spread at home, which is, and kudos to them. They did get the cover against the Washington football team. That was a big spot for them.
Long rest. Quarterback looked good.
Well, good's a stretch, but no, I think he looked okay.
Go look up your fucking air yards.
No,
how does he look there?
I mean, come on, Ryan. He didn't look good. I don't know. That's
those
a bit
refs
of a stretch.
that you were pissed off at. They took a nice long touchdown run off the board from them.
No, I mean that was holding, but
Really,
Giants.
you thought that was holding? Come on, stand on a different island.
Giants are 3-6 at home against the spread, and
They own the Falcons. Period.
Do they?
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever seen the Falcons beat the Giants.
My problem is the Giants are laying points, and I just don't think you can favor this Giants team against many teams in the NFL right now. I just haven't seen it. The defense was supposedly going to carry them, and I haven't seen great defensive play from the Giants.
32nd out of 32 teams ranked DVOA right now, and it's such a wide margin behind Jacksonville, the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, no, I mean Atlanta's really bad, and I guess if they are going to be a favorite against someone, it would be the Falcons. But Ryan, are you confident with this Giants team at
this
home?
Matchup? Yeah, they're Eli's number. I mean, this is the worst offense in the league, according to DVOA. We can keep talking about numbers. They're just not good at anything. They're not. They're bottom 5 defense in the league. I think what we saw last week will continue, and the Giants offense will show a little wiggle. Danny Dimes surprisingly had some time back there. The shuffle of the offensive line seems to have set something in place, and I think Barkley's 1 week healthier. Galladay's 1 week healthier, and as much as you want to throw shade, Daniel Jones was not even near the top of the pile of being the problem last week. The only thing that concerns me is Evan Ingram.
I love how that's you talking shit. Is no Daniel Jones
because he had a good game, and you're just gonna be like, nah, he didn't have a good game. No, he had a good game. He had a good game.
He was solid.
He had a good game in the stat sheet. He had a good game on the field. Like you can't. There's nothing you can say that he didn't have a good game. Jason Garrett lost that game. The refs cost them that game. We can blame a lot of other people. We're not going to blame Danny Dimes. So now you give him the softest defense he's seen. I think you're probably right to say, hey, you can't favor the Giants.
Yeah,
but I could also counter with on a neutral field. You're making this a pick'em. No,
I think for Daniel Jones to get to the next level, he's got to stop taking sacks and
long rest for the Giants as well.
Yeah. I'll go with you, Ryan. Let's take the Giants -3.
The angle against it is like, so maybe it's not 2.5. The angle against it would be, well, Atlanta played Tampa much closer, if not for those couple defensive touchdowns. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, Atlanta looks really bad. And as much as the Giants haven't looked good, Atlanta's probably looked worse. So I'll go with you on the Giants -3.
Oh, and this is going to be on the big screen too. That's the best part, Sean. Atlanta, New York Giants. Big screen. Let's go. Chicago. Justin Fields getting the start until Andy Dalton's healthy, guys.
Just so you know.
It's still Andy's.
And I ran a poll question saying, "Do you think Andy Dalton will get his job back when he's healthy?" Well, I mean, I wouldn't think so, but also Matt Nagy clearly he's pushed so many chips into the Andy Dalton is our guy.
Yeah, you're right.
Why does he have to specify that he's still the number 1 until he's healthy? I would just. Why not even not address it and just go, well, Andy Dalton's not starting, so Justin Fields is. You don't have to address it. He's really digging himself a grave he doesn't need to do.
Because everything's turned into reality television. Chicago heads to Cleveland, where the Browns 9 on the look ahead, Sean, down to 7, -330 on the money line. Chicago +255. Are we saying that Andy Dalton is 2 points worse than Justin Fields? 47.5 is the total.
2 points better. Oh yeah. So yeah, you're right. Yeah.
The note I would point out, if that is what you are thinking, is if Andy Dalton does something well, he gets the ball out. He gets the ball out real quick. And what was the knock on Justin Fields? Doesn't get the ball out quick. I think in this matchup against the Cleveland defense that has underperformed, and they're looking to eat against this offensive line, against a quarterback that quote processes slow, has trouble on the whiteboard, maybe has a slower release than Andy Dalton. We know this offensive line is bad.
Yeah, but I mean, also this Cleveland defense was kind of getting carved up by the Houston Texans and Tyrod Taylor, and the Browns defense really struggles with their linebacker play. And I think a guy like Justin Fields, this is where he's going to thrive. He's going to take one look and then either check it down to Montgomery, Cole Kmet or run the ball. He's going to give himself some really easy stuff. And Matt Nagy, as much as he doesn't want Justin Fields to be his quarterback, if you give him some of that RPO stuff that was working with Mitch Trubisky towards the end of the season, I think they actually will be able to move the ball. And when you have a shitty offensive line like the Chicago Bears have, how do you mitigate it? By putting it in the hands of a quarterback who likes to run the ball.
Everything you're saying makes sense.
And Baker Mayfield is dealing with the shoulder injury. When asked about his shoulder, he said, "quote It's still attached," but that doesn't sound promising. And you know,
it's still attached.
And the Cleveland offense really hasn't kind of hit its stride. You know, Odell Beckham isn't playing. Who knows when he's going to decide he's ready to play? It sounds like that's the issue. Jarvis Landry is going to be out. I do think Kareem Hunt has a big game simply because of the targets. And maybe Nick Chubb also able to run the ball, but I think it's going to be tough for them to really light it up offensively without their receivers.
I think that's the matchup, though. It's Cleveland running the ball, and I think if Cleveland,
and that's fine to win the game, but I think covering 7, and you could probably, since it moved from 9, you might be able to find some 7.5s, maybe even some 8s out there. So I think the handicap is that Chicago is going to be able to keep it close.
All right, well, let me plant one more seed in your head because this actually got in my head, and I cannot bet the Browns or the Bears now. Justin Fields coming to Ohio, definitely already a guy who let's just go with my offseason narrative, doesn't process quickly. Now he's got to deal with the distraction of talking to all these Ohio State people, all these local people wanting tickets, or coming back to the state of Ohio. Or he's going to have all that added pressure.
Or he's going to have a support system there of people in Ohio, a state he's balled out in before. In the same way, like Big Ben has owned the state of Ohio, you could certainly make a case that Justin Fields has owned the state of Ohio.
Yeah, Georgia boy up in Ohio. I'm going to flip that one around. Yeah, I'm going to lay the points.
Okay.
I think I like Fields to potentially have a nice fantasy day. Yeah, but I don't think it's because the Bears are in this game. I mean, I honestly, when I went back and watched the second half of the Bears Bengals and watched the way that the Bears just.
But you have to look at the offense.
No, I understand.
Look at the offense with a week to prepare.
I get
with
that.
Fields as the guy, because that's a different offense. He was playing in Andy Dalton's offense.
I will. You trust Matt Nagy? I'm not going to trust Matt.
I'm telling Matt Nagy can put in some simple RPO stuff that a college quarterback will be able to pick up fairly easily this week, and it will look decent. The product.
All right, I like it. We're on opposite sides. Last early kick. Cincinnati heads to Pittsburgh, where the Steelers are -3, -170 on the money line, +155 for the Bengals. 44 is the total. I mean, this number, I was saying this to you earlier, it confuses me because on one hand, if Big Ben is playing, I would think the number would be bigger. Yeah. But if he isn't playing, I don't think the Steelers are laying points against the Bengals. So are they purely just splitting the difference because they don't know? To me, we were discussing Watt is a bigger concern than
this game. I want no part of on the card. No. I'm not going to be betting this game.
Oh, what? But we bet every game.
No, we pick every game. I'm not going to bet this game because either side of the bet feels like a bad bet. Do I want to take this Bengals team going into Pittsburgh, coming off a loss, a Bengals team that again can't seem to figure out how to protect Joe Burrow throwing picks left and right, or do we want to take the Steelers, who, the Big Ben injury aside, which I don't think is a massive issue compared to the TJ Watt injury. TJ Watt, as soon as he went out, the defense fucking fell apart. Their defense was carrying them, and then you got Joe Hayden, Devin Bush. They have so many injuries, but then you have a much better coach. Like Mike Tomlin is a much better coach.
Who, by the way,
and Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor is the odds-on favorite to be first coach fired right now. Joe Judge in second place, which is crazy because the Giants hang on to bad coaches for a very long time.
They're just not dialed in. The Devin Bush also, but he's back as well. Like that matters too.
Yeah,
groin injuries.
Devin Bush is back. I thought he was still out.
Full participant in practice today. So TJ Watt limited, Hayden limited. So they were out there.
I'm going to go Steelers -3. The thought being Tomlin is the better coach. Tomlin at home versus Zach Taylor. That alone should warrant more than 3 points. They're going to shoot up Big Ben. Tell him to stay off the Pornhub or whatever he's been watching to get his pec thrown out. Again, he has an addiction. He's dealing with it.
Serious.
Look up the story about Big Ben admitting that he was addicted to masturbating, and try not to laugh while reading the article. But and maybe as we say this, like the coaching difference, the home field, Steelers coming off a loss, maybe I do like Pittsburgh -3 more than I've let on.
Cincy on a road back to back.
Yeah, so give me the Steelers -3. Although
Tomlin will have aviators on, and that strengthens.
Just imagine badass Tomlin going up and down the sidelines. He's gonna pull some shit out his ass.
Tomlin, he just lost to Gruden. You think he's happy?
No.
We got to get our shit going mentally.
And then you could just list off every against the spread record of the Bengals versus the Steelers in all different fun ways, and it just doesn't look good. It's just historically.
Yeah, and Steelers are 23-6 against the Bengals last 29 games. There's been injuries in those games. There's been wonky situations. I mean, you're betting it at -3. That's the closest you'll get to a money line. Yeah, in the Steelers Bengals.
That's the difference. You're not having to lay it, I guess, because Ben's hurt, and I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm not stoked if Haskins is out there or Mason Rudolph. But
well, and Haskins has been inactive the first 2 games of the season, so it sounds like Mason Rudolph would get the start. Moonoff, Manji pointing out Zach Taylor 1-15-1 on the road. Yeah, what are we talking about? This is Pittsburgh all day.
I mean, you start with Pittsburgh. You find no way to get to Cincinnati, then you stay on Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Ryan, pickswise.com. You want to pick wiser? You got to go to pickswise.com. That's right, Pickswise, baby. Oh man, you want free picks? Of course you do. That's why you're listening to this podcast. Pickswise, #1 app for sports betting picks. They got you covered every game, every day, every sport. And it's awesome. They got best bets, props, parlays, in-depth analysis. It's all free. And if it's free, it's for me, aka Old Sean Green. You can find some great sportsbook promos. And again, it's very simple. Just download the free Pickswise app. Make your next bet better. Pickswise backs responsible gambling. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. We're also brought to you by oddscrowd.com. They have a weekly $100 SGPN free roll contest. You have to have downloaded the SGPN app, which you should have already downloaded. But download that. Go to oddscrowd.com. Enter your weekly picks in for the $100 SGPN. There's a bunch of other contests. They got you covered for college, other MLB, whatever you want. They're giving away hundreds of dollars every week. Of course, season-long contests as well. Like I said, I'm in 3rd place in the college season-long contest. For a chance to win $3,000. There's $10,000 up for grabs in the NFL season long. Kramer, who are the winners this week?
All right, I got it up in front of me. Week 2 in the SGPN free roll. The winner, RR Dub, 17.24 units profit. Oh, hello.
Oh my God.
And then over in the season long, Sean, top spot currently sitting on that $10,000 prize. Patrick 9, 44 units up. He's 13 units clear of second. Sean, I'm in 169th place.
Nice.
I thought you might like that.
Yeah, 169. Let's go, baby.
All right, let's move on. We still got the afternoon slate to pick. First up, Miami. As a close your eyes special, coming off that thumping 35-0 to the Bills. They're heading to Vegas where the Raiders are -4.5. Sean, this was 1 on the look ahead. It's now 4.5, -225 on the money line. Miami +180, 45.5 is the total. My theory, Brissett with a week of practice, proper game plan. The defense looked okay. Can they run the ball against the Raiders? Probably. There's no reason this number should have moved 3.5 points off of Tua, and the entire world is going to be on the Las Vegas Raiders here. Give me the close your eyes.
Cox.
This is like the ultimate make sense close your eyes special because it is gross. It nothing about it makes sense, and yet, of course, you're taking the Dolphins +4.5. I can't figure out a reason to get off this side because it's just so gross. It's the grossest of the numbers on the card. you can't really back into a real justification on the field other than the defense plays well. They run the ball.
Well, and they turn teams over. And Brian Flores in the Brian Flores era, 17-10 against the spread as a dog. And I'll say this, Ryan, as much as you don't like to see, thoughts and prayers for Tua going through those cracked ribs, bruised ribs, serious thing. I mean, we can pretty much cash those unders, those season long under. And hate to get to it.
Should we get
injury.
a candle?
We will set up a Tua vigil, but could you make a case that Jacoby Brissett with a full week of practice is better than Tua? I mean, I'm kind of there. At this
point, who knows?
I'm kind of there. And we see this with the Raiders all the time where they start out good and then completely fall apart as the week goes on. Derek Carr, they say his ankle is okay, but the fact that it was injured, the fact he was on the injury report, I think that is a small
full participant on Wednesday.
Yeah, no, they said he's good to go. I still think it could factor in, and this Dolphins team I think will play a little desperate. And man, I do think that defense, as much as I thought coming into the season that it would regress a little bit as far as the turnovers, they've been still able to create those turnovers, turn the ball over 4 times. I think you set Jacoby Brissett up, tell him to play a clean game, give him some easy looks, and I think he gets it done. But really, it's just Brian Flores as a dog, or the other side is just John Gruden as a favorite after a win. Like, this is the problem with the Raiders. They can't stack success. They don't. It's like a Jenga thing that they just cannot put together. As soon as they pull 2 blocks out, couple blocks out, the whole tower crumbles.
To me, the story of this game is that I don't think they can run the ball. And I think Miami is probably going to be the most equipped defense they've seen by a bit. And I think this defense knows they have to play a solid game because the backup quarterback's out there. And that's the best I can do because the rest of it's gross. And you know what? It's only Wednesday. The average person isn't getting down in their NFL games yet. But 3 times I've gotten a text. Everyone's on this side. Everyone is on Las Vegas. So let's fade it. All right, Jets. Jesus, the late games are kind of low key trash this week. No offense if one of your teams there, but Jets at Denver home opener. Sean, we like that. Minus 10.5, minus 600 on the money line, plus 440 for the Jets. 41 is the total. I mean, this is another gross one, another one where the experienced man, not new to the sports gambling block, will tell you. Yes, a look ahead to Baltimore matters for the Broncos. I do think that there's some strange history between those franchises. They've only been favored by more than 10 twice since 2015, and they're 0-2 in those spots. I don't like the idea of laying this many points with Teddy Bridgewater. I don't like the idea of having Vic Fangio be at the helm of a ship that needs to cover by this many points. But holy crap, the Jets looked like dog shit last week.
Yeah, and Zach Wilson on the road against Vic Fangio. I mean, we saw Zach Wilson at home against Bill Belichick. Now, Vic Fangio's no Bill Belichick, but certainly I'm confident they're going to be able to scheme up some stuff. Cortland Sutton is a late add to the injury report there. I'm a little worried about the Jets' ability to create some pressure on the Broncos. We saw the Broncos, kind of slow play the Jags early, but eventually they got there. Eventually they got the win. Eventually they got the cover. And
Butler.
And I think something similar happens with this Broncos team at home. I just think Zach Wilson, he's not there yet, and he's going to struggle to put up points on the road in Mile High.
Are you overreacting to one game against Bill Belichick?
No.
Okay.
I mean, he didn't look great the first game. Okay. So we have 2 games where he doesn't look that good.
I think he looked really bad in the last game, and it's kind of hard to forget that. And I think I'm going to once again be on just the absolute gross side and take the Jets with the points here.
That's a bad pick. Right?
Again, it's 0-2 teams are a strong play against the spread, especially when they're playing. You have to know
when to put the numbers aside, and this Jets team is an outlier. They're an outlier right now, as Joe Rice in the YouTube chat points out. As a Jets fan, Teddy Bridgewater revenge game. Colby always talks about how the Jets did him dirty. They moved on before they needed to, kind of gave him the cold shoulder. And now this is Teddy Bridgewater Also, Teddy Bridgewater is just one of those guys who covers fucking spread.
He does.
He's not very oftentimes a 10.5 point favorite, and maybe that's where he maxes out. But the thin air at home in Denver, their first home game, man, I think they're going to be a handful for this Jets team.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of taking the dog here, but I think that's the side you got to play. All right, Tampa heads to Los Angeles. This is the game of the week for sure. Definitely the afternoon game. Rams, they opened as a 1.5 point favorite on the look ahead. Tampa has since moved to the 1 point favorite, -125 on the money line. Rams +105, 55.5 is the total. Brady seems on a mission to just put up numbers, and just dominate the world. I understand why the line moved to the Tampa side. I understand that Tampa's been playing really well. I don't know about this one. I think this has the potential for Sean McVay to have an edge on Bruce Arians. I think the fact that Tampa can't run the ball might show up in this game. And other than, Brady looking like he has the edge on Matt Stafford, I kind of like the Rams everywhere else at this point.
Yeah, I mean the Rams should be able to throw on them, but the Rams defense hasn't been that amazing. You kind of look back. I mean the Bears were able to move the ball a little bit. Colts were able to move the ball a little bit. I do think the Bucks pass rush will be able to get home a little bit against Los Angeles, and it comes down to Tom Brady. Tom Brady's thrown 9 touchdowns this season. Maybe it's a look ahead for him, but Brady isn't a guy who looks ahead. He's a guy who eats 30 to 50 almonds per day, which is crazy. Not because
the amount of water he's consuming,
just the fact that you know how many almonds you eat per day, the fact that you're counting your almonds. Tom Brady is count your almonds dialed in. Gronk, on the other hand, like he says, he doesn't watch film. He just runs past guys. I think they're going to have trouble covering Gronk. And you saw it in the Super Bowl. Gronk had a couple big plays there against the Rams. Sean McVay missed practice, feeling under the weather. Do you think? Now they said it's not COVID, but you think Tom Brady would miss practice because he doesn't feel good, Ryan? You think Bruce Arians drinks paint when he's not feeling good, makes him feel better, makes him feel like a man, puts a little lead in his pencil, figuratively and literally. I mean, Tom Brady is better than Matt Stafford. That's the only handicap you have here. Tom Brady 12-5 against the spread as a favorite of fewer than 3 points. And you could make a case that this Bucks team he has around him is a lot better than some of the rosters he had in New England when he was such a small favorite.
Is this just like, get out of the way, don't be an idiot, take the buck? Because in my opinion, if I'm just kind of, being an experienced handicapper, someone who can lead you through the jungle, I'm saying Rams should be favored by 2.5 here.
Okay. But what kind of key numbers are you crossing there on?
You're not crossing any. I'm just saying I don't think Tampa should be favored. I probably would have liked the Rams at 1.5. I just think this is a spot. Like, I get it. We're watching. I mean, they almost lost to the fucking Cowboys at home. Like they ran up the score on the Falcons with 2 late defensive scores. Like, we can calm down. Like, Tom Brady's slinging the rock, but the defense is giving up points.
You could make a case that the Rams almost lost to Carson Wentz.
So I get you're picking a winner. You're picking Tom Brady. I'll take the other guy. I take my guy Matty Stafford. Next up, speaking about our guy Russ Wilson. Hopefully he fucking cooks all the way to the end of the game this time. Seattle heading to Minnesota. The spaceship. Seattle Seahawks are -2 on the road, -125 on the money line. Vikings +105, 55.5 is the total. Love this game for DFS. This is very dangerously close to prime time. And boy, I would be very much considering this Vikings team if Russ didn't just blow that game.
I mean, again, this great quarterbacks off a loss. Russell Wilson 25-12 against the spread after a loss. I mean, really, you look at the teams, they kind of are fairly similar. Mike Zimmer, pretty solid coach. Pete Carroll, pretty solid coach.
Both fucking Minnesota, crazy in their own ways.
Yes, yeah. I mean, Mike Zimmer likes really, really young chicks. Google that if you're if you like. I mean, his girlfriend. Congratulations, Mike Zimmer. So their offense, they both have 2 good pairs of receivers. I mean, you could probably Seattle, you give them the slight edge. Vikings have Dalvin Cook. I mean, Chris Carson, good, not Dalvin Cook, But really, and both their defenses have looked really bad so far this season. To me, the biggest difference is one team has Kirk Cousins, the other team has Russell Wilson. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you can overthink it. You can bring out all the trends. 18-8. Pete Carroll is against the spread after losing as a favorite. You can bring them all out, trot them all out.
Bring them out.
Does it fucking matter? One team has Russell Wilson, the other doesn't.
Yeah. Quick note: we went through that whole handicap of the Bucks without pointing out the Patriots look ahead for Tom Brady.
No, I did. Okay, I mentioned it.
Thank you.
I said he doesn't look ahead.
Oh.
He's looking down at the counter to count
almonds.
his goddamn almonds.
You did say that, but yeah. Look, I told you 0-2 teams are a good bet.
Yeah.
They become a bad bet when the spread is between threes.
Ooh.
So.
Or when they have Kirk Cousins.
Well, in this case, the spread is between threes, so it works. It works both ways. And yeah, I think you take Seattle here. I think, Dalvin Cook's ankle is something I would monitor. Sources close to the situation, Sean. This might be more serious than we're letting. Alexander Madison might be a guy.
Yeah.
Or you just want to stack Kirk Cousins in your DFS lineup like I did. All right, Sunday night. We're both on Seattle. Sunday night football. Green Bay coming off Monday night football. They head to San Francisco. Aaron Rodgers is coming home. -3.5 for the Niners? -180. +150 for the Packers. 49.5 is the total. I know San Francisco has kind of owned Green Bay of late.
Yeah, it is weird because this past couple games they've just ran it down their throats.
Postseason domination.
Yeah, but Rodgers all time is I think 5-3, 18 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Kind of interesting. Historically, he's shown up against them. This is the ultimate revenge spot for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it starts in the Bay Area. He wanted to be traded to the 49ers, right? We all know that. It was pretty clear. What better way to stick it to the 49ers? A team with no secondary, a team that's starting Richard Sherman. I mean, Jalen Hurts, who isn't as good a passer nearly as Aaron Rodgers, Hurts took advantage. He had some deep shots. I mean, they weren't able to completely convert and get the win, but you saw Hurts carving up those cornerbacks deep. Why couldn't Green Bay do that? I certainly worry about Bakhtiari still being out and having to deal with that offensive line. However, Jerome Boger, the referee in this game, aka the ladies' man referee, which
I'm Brian Fellows.
Yeah, look up the ladies' man character and then watch Jerome Boger. You'll never be able to unsee that. He's 2-0 against the spread for the road team. But I mean, also like the 49ers. Again, I've just been such a hater on them. But should this be 3.5? Like, what am I missing here? Like, I know the running backs are plug and play in the Shanahan system, but Elijah Mitchell, he's dealing with the shoulder thing. Trey Sermon is in the concussion protocol. Like,
running backs,
who's their running back?
But running backs come back, right? Do they need 2 weeks? Running backs.
I mean, Trey Sermon was barely getting in. He gets in one play, he gets knocked unconscious, and he fumbles. So I think between coaching and the concussion, I don't think he comes back. They just signed a guy from the XFL. Man, I just think Packers will be able to throw on them, and maybe Packers, they probably will end up being a public dog, and they could have some fleas here. But isn't Green Bay the way to go here, Kramer?
I mean, I did write down Jimmy G is laying 3.5 points to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
I did write down that San Francisco is 2-0 and they're looking ahead potentially to. Is it possible that Seattle on deck could be any sort of distraction here? We didn't mention it in the Seattle Minnesota game because they're coming off a loss, but San Francisco coming home after that back-to-back road trip. Probably not because it's Aaron Rodgers, but to your point, I think this is a game where if it does turn into some sort of shootout where San Francisco is shredding the Packers on the ground and Aaron Rodgers is shredding the 49ers in the air, you definitely want to bet on Aaron Rodgers in a shootout. Last thing we'll say, it's so hard to lay more than 3 with Jimmy G. It's so hard to, and I get it. We like we might as well throw the Niners in with the Cowboys. We're not finding ourselves taking them very often.
No, and maybe they just run it down their throats and Green Bay's defense can't do it. But I'm just optimistic enough that he'll be able to throw on that secondary. And I do think there's a real chip on the shoulder here for Aaron Rodgers. And he seems like a guy who gets up for these emotional revenge games. He's a petty guy. He's a petty man who wants to scorn his exes. And I think 49ers he considers an ex.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably the strongest angle, especially emo Aaron Rodgers. All right. Monday Night Football, Sean.
Let's go.
Dallas week. Eagles, Cowboys laying 4. Ooh, that's a shot. -190. Eagles +160. 52 is the total. First instinct, not a total guy. We did mention primetime totals have gone over to the tune of 6-0 so far this year. Feels like 52 is a tad low, but it is a divisional game. Just tell me why the Eagles win, Sean.
Why the Eagles win? Well, I mean, historically, the Eagles show up after losses. I liked what I saw out of Jalen Hurts. Again, if you're a PFF guy, he's rated top in that. But that aside, like I like his confidence in the pocket. Again, still very early on in his career, but I like what I've seen. I like the shots they took deep. I think they're going to be able to carve up the Cowboys secondary. You know about Lael Collins. That's a huge opportunity for the Eagles D line. Amari Cooper, he trending not to play. He's right on the edge. Now they're one of their Cowboys linebackers, Keanu Neal. He's on the COVID list. Close contact. He's unvaccinated, so there's a chance he won't play Monday. And it's kind of a perfect situation for the Eagles. The Eagles are coming off a game at home that they let the opportunity slip through their hands. They probably should have won that game. Now, on the other side, the Cowboys coming from Los Angeles, a game they really didn't have any business winning. And maybe I'm biased because I hate the Cowboys and I bet on the Chargers, but the Chargers literally threw them that game. If Hurts is going to throw interceptions into the end zone, then yeah, they're going to lose the game. But the Eagles defense, again, I'm isolating of the Eagles offense, the Cowboys offense, the Eagles defense, and the Cowboys defense. The Eagles defense, I think, is a big advantage for them. Now, maybe Brandon Graham not being there is enough to kind of submarine the defense, but they've only let up 23 points so far. Again, against Atlanta and the 49ers, not the most high powered offenses, but I do think with no Amari Cooper, I do like Steven Nelson and Darius Slay to be able to slow them down enough. I think our defensive line, our front seven is going to be able to hold Zeke and Tony Pollard, that dynamic duo. They're kind of neck and neck there for who's the better running back. We'll see who gets more carries there. But ultimately, I think the Cowboys secondary has some real issues. There's going to be some massive opportunities, in particular Dallas Goedert, and the Cowboys have really struggled with running backs. You saw Austin Eckler. What did he do? He had a massive game. So you have pass catching running backs in Miles Sanders and Kenny Gainwell. I think I like both sides of the matchups here for them.
I guess the concern for me would be if Dak's able to just sling the rock against the.
Why don't you take the Cowboys, Ryan?
No, I'm not. The
Eagles do better when you fade against.
So the Eagles, they have struggled on the road in Dallas, 1-4 against the spread in their last 5, but Dallas is just bad as a favorite. 1-7 their last 8. They're bad in the division. 1-5 in their last 6, and most importantly, they shit the bed in prime time. The Cowboys are 5-11 in their last 16 Monday Night Football appearances. I get it. That's a long fucking time. It's a point though. It's a culture. Jerry Jones, the extra pressure
they're
on prime
smelling
time
themselves after beating the Chargers, I think.
And they just won in LA. You don't think that matters for a team like this? A team that is coached by Humpty Dumpty, AK Mojo Moment himself.
And I do think this is an emotional young team that Sirianni has, and I think still early on in the season, I think he has the player's ear, and I think they're going to be able to get up for this game in a big way. Kramer, Brandon in the chat, he's a Cowboys fan. He's been picking my brain as to what is a good bet for Eagles Cowboys. What do you suggest we throw on the line for this Eagles Cowboys game?
Well, the last 5 games have gone over.
Yes.
That's the game. Oh, you're saying to bet with this guy?
Yeah.
Got it. It's got to be alcohol, right?
Okay. Yeah. Maybe, why do we do that?
Bottle is there like a maybe a Philly? Is there like a local whiskey you could put up against like a Texas bourbon?
Okay. Yeah. I'll find a
or just Irish maybe.
Yeah. Same difference. I'll give you a bottle of proper 12 and you can find, because I mean he's not from Philadelphia, but I feel like Conor McGregor is probably the closest to your average Philadelphian, except he doesn't know how to throw a football or a baseball. So I'll put up a bottle of Proper 12, and you can come back with whatever opposite side of whiskey.
Spread or money line?
Oh, I'll take the money line. Nice. I don't need your fucking 4 points, Brandon. Nice. This is the fucking Philadelphia Eagles we're talking about. Fly, Eagles, fly till I die. I mean, we're gonna get up for this game. The birds are gonna roll. You want a final score, Ryan?
I would love a final score, Sean.
29-20. I think it actually goes just under. I know both offenses.
Really?
You would think it's going to be a high scoring affair, but this is the perfect time where that every primetime game goes over, zags back because it's a division game and they know each other.
See, I think this is the game where everyone who has Jalen Hurts in fantasy is stroking themselves because he does something crazy like 50 points.
You have to know when to come. Long.
Like
we can only hope, right?
My bold prediction for this game, it would be like if you can find a DGen prop where Hurts rushes for over 100 yards and scores 2 or 3 touchdowns. That's the angle.
You can say that because we'll hit on some Monday night props.
Oh, don't worry.
On our Sunday recap show.
People know at Kramer Centric on Twitter. That's where they find the winning props. Did we already talk about the 35-1?
Yes, we mentioned it. Maybe. Great spot. All right, let's give out some PrizePicks player props here. Again, make sure you go to prizepicks.com, use the promo code SGP. Last one I gave out went 3-0, so $20 entry paid out $100.
Nice. That's really, right. That's really awesome.
What do you got here, Kramer? What do you got, like a 3-teamer you like?
Rapid fire.
Sure.
We're taking all overs because that's what we're going to do.
Overs club. Let's go.
Kirk Cousins, 265.5 passing yards. Way too low, especially if Dalvin Cook's going to be a little banged up. Justin Fields over 44.5 rushing yards. That's too low because they're going to have what? Would you say they're going to have at least 5 designed runs for this guy? Maybe as high as 10. I would think so. I think he's going to be running the ball a little bit. I think you called that out. The pass rush could instigate it. So 44.5 just feels low. Like this is going to be a 50 something yard prop by Sunday. And then I'm going to stay in that game. Give me Darnell Mooney over 50.5 receiving yards. We've been talking about this. It just Darnell Mooney feels like he's going to catch a nice long pass from Fields, and we might get a little excited in this game for a bit before we realize that Justin Fields sucks.
Daniel Jones over 25.5 rushing yards. That's comically low. Austin Eckler over 53.5 rushing yards against the Chiefs. Like, come on, that.
Yeah, I mean his passing game work is the only thing that scares me with that.
And maybe
Chiefs can't stop the run.
No, not at all. And what else do we got? Oh, Odell Beckham receiving yards under 49.5. I mean, he may if he does play, I think they still have to ease him back in. He's the one that says, "I don't trust my ankle. I don't trust my leg." How can they give him a ton of workload? So I'm on the under there. And that'll do it. PrizePicks.com, promo code SGP.
Let's
Time for the LDT lock, dog, and tease.
Happy birthday.
What do we do here, Ryan? I went first last week. You went first the first week. We're still.
Well, you did the football song, so maybe that was enough.
Maybe that cleansed it.
Maybe let one moving part at a time.
Yeah. So you go back to going first.
No, that would be 2 moving parts because we did the football song and you went. All right, I'll go first. If you need me to go first, Sean, I will go first. I'm going to start.
Well, I know your lock's going to be Miami, right?
Oh yeah, just put it on the board.
You
ruined the tease, but I was going to start with my dog, but I'll start with my lock. Yeah, give me Brissett, give me the Dolphins. It's a tremendously gross spot on the board. I just think we're going to see this Dolphins defense show up. 4.5, way too many points. For my dog, as much as I want to give you the Jets at plus 440 to shock the world, I honestly think the way to play it is you take the Colts plus 200. This is a divisional game. It would not shock me at all if we saw this Colts team win with a late field goal. So that 2-1 feels nice, even though it's a road spot. And for my tease, step 1, Cleveland's not losing. Move that down to 1. Step 2. Rams up to plus 7.
That's not a bad tease. Yeah.
Step 3. We're going to take, I'm just gonna do a couple more grunts. Give me New Orleans +9.
Ooh. Okay. All right. And we got a new segment, Ryan, in honor of True D-Gen.
Hey, you want to feed that donkey some beer? Get it all messed up?
Norm McDonald salute. What do you got for like a D-Gen play, a parlay? What do you got?
I mean, I honestly, I think the move is you take the Dolphins, you take the Colts, and you parlay them.
Miami and Indy moneyline parlay.
Yeah, I mean, 2-teamer. It's I can get that price for you in a second. Just dial up the database.
Yeah, letting it riff or letting it ride there. All right. For my lock, I like Kansas City. I like Washington and the points. It's a lot of points. The more after going through the game, I really like Pittsburgh -3, but I locked them up last week. Feel like I can't do that again.
We can't mess around with that.
Denver -10.5 is crazy. Seattle -2. We locked up, or you locked up last week, right?
Yeah,
that didn't work out. I like Tampa Bay -1, but you're on the opposite side. I do want to. Oh man, I really want to get down that Tampa -1. Green Bay -3.5 on the road there. All right, what am I gonna do? Shit. Okay.
There's so many juicy dogs that take a lot of points and just seem foolish later.
Yes, that's what's gonna happen. Give me the Washington Redskins long rest +7.5. They're a nice dog there. For my actual dog, for my dog money line, I like Kramer's Indy. Okay, well yeah, I'm gonna go Dolphins +180. I like them as well, and I think they get it done on the money line. For my tease, give me Denver down to 4.5. Give me Philly up to 10, and then what's another one? Oh, KC just to win the game. That is a very easy tease. They're not going to lose back-to-back games. Eagles up to 10, Denver -4.5, Miami +180. For my Norm salute, we'll play the clip again. This is from Billy Madison. It's an all-timer.
Hey, you want to feed that donkey some beer? Get it all messed up?
Let's see. I'm gonna go. Ooh, man, Houston is interesting. I also like the idea of putting Indy in the money line. You know what I'm gonna do, Ryan?
Give it to me.
I'm gonna go Indy, Chicago. Little Midwest money line parlay. What does that pay out?
Give me the Chicago price, please.
Chicago is a 7-point dog, and they're +255.
All right. Indy is +200. That's +965.
Whew. Let's go, baby.
Heyo.
That is a big, juicy dog. All right, now time for the Circa Millions.
Oh shit.
Okay, so our locks: Miami +4.5, Washington +7.5. I think we both like Indy +5. What else do we got here that we both agree on? I mean, I like Denver,
Giants?
but you're no. Why do we do Pittsburgh -3 again? I mean,
No, we just got to play Seattle, right?
yeah, fucking A.
We'll win more than we lose playing
Seattle -2. And what's the final play here on the Circa Millions card?
I mean, we haven't had a prime time game yet. We could play the Aaron Rodgers Bowl. I think we should fire on one of these grosser dogs earlier in the card. Is it taking the points with Jacksonville? It's so hard to do. Is it taking the points with the Lions? Also extremely hard to do. Is it taking the Texans? And
do we ride with the Texans? Maybe that Thursday mojo is what we need to change things up, Ryan. Texans were kind of our team coming into the year. Do we get cute and throw them in here?
it does feel like that would be getting cute.
Yeah. But 8 points is a ton. Yeah, but no Tyrod. I would have liked it way more if Tyrod's playing in that game. All right.
While we're Drew wants to know, do we think the Cardinals will make the playoffs as we stand 2-0, laying 7.5?
Moonoff is saying Moonoff is our Texans expert. He's saying don't do it. Come on, why don't we fade Dallas? We haven't. Well, we did fade Dallas last week.
Nice try. You really just tried to get the Eagles on the card, didn't you?
Yeah. Come on.
You don't want to play the Giants? You're crazy.
I mean, the Giants are a bad team. Let's go Detroit +8. Detroit's the mojo we need to switch this up. Let's go Detroit. Ooh, this is the ugly dog special. We got Miami +4.5, Washington +7.5, Indy +5, Seattle -2, Detroit +8 in the Circa Millions card. Of course, Lock, Dog, and Tease as well that we just gave those out. Oh man, Merch Monday right around the corner. Make sure you leave a nice rating and review on our Apple Podcast for your chance to win. Giving away a SGP mini helmet and a SGP t-shirt. So get that in. And of course, tune in Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific time on our YouTube channel. We're going live on YouTube, Twitter Spaces. So if you guys want call in, mix it up, both the pre and post game for Sunday.
Yes.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, second the Money Green, and he is Ryan.
I think I just went 14-2.
Kramer. Let it ride.